The stage is set for the G20 Summit in the Indian capital as global leaders start to arrive in New Delhi soon. U.S. President Joe Biden will also be there. So what is on the agenda for the summit? Well, President Biden faces polls next year. How will this summit impact the voters back at home? And will he be able to use this platform to his favor before the elections? Take a look at our next report.
India, the current president of the G20, will host global leaders for the summit scheduled between September 9th and 10th in New Delhi. US President Joe Biden will also be arriving in the Indian national capital on September 7th for this year's Group of 20 Leaders Summit. But the American president is not the only going to attend the summit. After arriving in India, the US President will first be holding a bilateral meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Discussions will likely focus on implementing agreements reached during Prime Minister Modi's state visit to the US in the month of June. Meanwhile, at the summit, both the leaders, US President Joe Biden and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the rest of the leaders, will discuss the capacity of multilateral development banks, including the World Bank. To better fight poverty, they will also address the global challenges. And once again, the ongoing war in Russia-Ukraine will take the center stage. The leaders will mitigate the economic and social impacts of the war. While we discuss this, how will it affect things for Biden back at home? The US is scheduled to host its presidential elections next year, but his latest approval ratings paint a grim picture. The American president's rating stands at 40.5%, while his Republican contender, who is most likely to challenge him for the White House, Donald Trump, is leading the polls in the GOP race. Now, despite Trump facing 91 criminal charges across 4 cases, as of now, things don't look too well for Biden. Questions are being asked about his age. Biden is already the oldest person to hold the job. He will turn 81 this November. The American president also has a series of slip-ups and gaffes. Amidst this, the G20 summit comes as an opportunity for Biden to show America's leadership at the world stage. While this may not affect average American voters directly, but how he conducts himself in front of the world leaders might help him woo Americans when he contests for the White House for a second term. Just a few days ago, US President Joe Biden expressed disappointment over Chinese President Xi Jinping's absence from the summit. This attracted criticism from the Republicans. Earlier, they had also slammed Biden for pursuing what they call fruitless engagement with China, participating in talks with Beijing on their terms and timelines and conditions set by Beijing. Moreover, in India, a joint communique might not be on the cards. US would still push for Ukraine's cause. Americans, however, have different opinions on support for Ukraine. According to a poll, most Americans oppose Congress authorizing additional funding to support Ukraine. 55% say that Congress should not authorize additional funding, while 45% believe that US should provide aid to Ukraine. 71% of Republicans broadly say that Congress should not authorize new funding to Ukraine, while among Democrats, 62% favor sending additional funds to Ukraine.
The Biden administration has faced a slew of domestic and international challenges leading to a huge dip in polls. The White House now hopes that the G20 summit is an opportunity for the president to showcase his ability to deal with complex international issues while reasserting America's role on the global stage. Also, they hope that G20 is an opportunity for President Biden to demonstrate his leadership skills with the November elections looming and challenge the notion that age plays a huge factor in his re-election.